So my session is about writing references.
Dr. Sumita, can you put on the slideshow?
Okay.
Thank you.
Now, as we come to referencing, there are certain terms which we will come across, like reference list, bibliography, cross references, citations. So being first year PG students, you should know the meaning of this. What do you understand by the reference list? So reference list refers to the list of references which are quoted in your thesis or in your protocol. Like you will be writing the protocol now, the thesis protocol. So it is a list of references. Bibliography doesn't mean reference. It means list of all study materials which you have consulted, even those which are not being quoted in the thesis. That is bibliography. So there is a difference between reference list and bibliography. What do you understand by cross-reference? Cross-reference means a reference quoted in an article which has been used as a reference. So like you have referred to an article where you have found a reference regarding in a particular line. So that is a cross-reference. Citing. What do you understand by citing? Citing means you are acknowledging the concept of some other researcher. When you're writing your review of literature or you're writing your introduction, when you're giving citing means you are acknowledging the idea or concept of someone else, which is another researcher. When you're quoting, that means you're using the exact words of the author. And very often it is under inverted commas. And what is paraphrasing, which we often do here, you will be doing, is that you will reword the author's words as per your understanding, keeping the meaning intact. So that is paraphrasing. You will be, after the search of literature, you will be paraphrasing the author's words and you will incorporate them in your protocol. Now, why is this part of your protocol so important? Why? Because it means that when you're giving references, you are acknowledging the contribution of other researchers. You are giving them respect. Like if you are not giving references, what would have been the case? It means that whatever you're saying, whatever you're writing is your own idea. But when you have given a reference, it means that you are acknowledging that this idea has been contributed by someone else. And this also reflects your meticulous search, that how thoroughly you have searched the literature. It gives more credibility and precision to your work. And this helps to bring out better the lacunae. When you have given the references, then it will bring out better the lacunae arising in the literature, so that your thesis becomes, or your research work becomes more relevant, because that will be obviously related to those lacunae. And it also highlights how your work is going to add to the already existing literature. So referencing is very, very important. So what are the sources of the references? They can be journals. In yesterday, you must have attended a session of searching of literature, biomedical literature. So you must be aware of these sources: journals, books, thesis, conference proceedings, papers. Very often we think that the references are only journals, but no, it also implies books, even thesis, your dissertations, they are also references. Conference proceedings, papers, online databases, very important nowadays, and guidelines released by the government, societies, professional organizations, expert groups, and other academic bodies. Like they are all accepted as sources of reference. You can cite them all as your reference, but in a respective format. Each has a respective format. So when you're writing the references, you have to keep in mind that they should be relevant. कुछ भी उठा के you cannot write. The references have to be very relevant to that particular point which you are writing in your protocol or thesis, whether it is introduction, whether it is your material methods, some method where you are giving appropriate reference, or you are trying to justify your result in your discussion section of your thesis. So it should be very relevant to the point, whatever you are writing. And another important thing is the number. Very often students, they tend to go overboard. कि इतना search कर लिया that they tend to put extra references, which is not needed. You have to use the relevant references. And since you are all first year postgraduate students, so it is just the beginning. So for you, approximately 20 to 30 references is fine. You may exceed also, it may be 40. Nobody will penalize you for that. But try to keep it less, around 30. And when you're writing the thesis, which is more exhaustive, in that case, the references, the average is around 100. It can be 110, it can be 120, but approximately 100. So these are the salient features, salient points which you need to keep in mind. Don't go overboard. Now, how to write? You have understood why they are important and how many references approximately. And you have your references with you. Now, how to write and insert them? You have to cite these references completely and correctly. Completely in the sense that all the parameters like the authors, if it is a journal, then the names of the authors, the title, the journal, the year, all the things should be cited completely and correctly. And it should be cited exactly as it has been given by the authors. And to cross check, it is very easy that you can check them from the PubMed if it is available on the PubMed. Then cross references can be cited after you have read the article yourself. This is very important because in this stage, when you're first year students, very often the students, they just read the abstracts and then they cite. So when you're, especially when you're citing the cross references, like the reference which has been cited in a paper, you should always read the article yourself, whether it is actually relevant or not, because many a times errors can happen. Then you should preferably select those journal articles which are indexed, preferably, but sometimes I understand non-indexed can be also selected. Nobody will penalize you, but select preferably the indexed ones. And choose the articles preferably in English because it will be more convenient for you. If in other language, then you have to use a translator. Then avoid referencing from abstracts and papers under submission. Okay, because there can be controversy. Now I come to the two styles of writing references. One is the Harvard style and one is the Vancouver style. Like I'm just stressing the main points which you will come across. These are the two main styles, and the style which is generally followed in Delhi University while you are submitting your protocol or thesis is the Vancouver style. But you should know these are the two main styles, and you should know what are the main features of both. Because once you have done your thesis and you are communicating a paper, sometimes Few journals, they follow the Harvard style. So you should be aware with the Harvard style of referencing also. If the paper is, say, rejected from one journal, you need to re-communicate it to some another journal, which follows the Harvard style. So you should be well versed with that also. So now I'm showing you an example of a reference. See, here the names of the authors. This reference is as per Vancouver style. Now, before I explain Vancouver style in details, you see this reference has certain parts. This is a reference of a journal article. So one part is which consists of the names of the authors. Then the next part consists of the name of the article. Then the next part, the name of the journal. Then the year, the volume, the issue, and page number. So these are the parts, and this is very, very specific for the Vancouver style. First, you write the surname of the author, followed by the initial name. Then the second author, which is followed by a comma, and this ends in a full stop. Then the name of the article, then the name of the journal, then the year, volume, issue, and page number. So once you start doing it, you will get the hang of it. Now this I am telling if you are doing manually. There are obviously softwares available nowadays which help to do it automatically. I'll come to that. So you see in the Vancouver style of reference we saw just now, the references in the text. Now this is in the reference list. This reference you will find in the reference list. But in the text, how you will find this reference? When you have written a line and you want to cite this reference, then this will be cited in the text as a superscript. It can be 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, but it will come as a superscript. And the references are designated by numbers, not Roman, but Arabian. Now, see this example. Combining pulse oximetry with clinical examination can enhance clinicians' ability to detect heart disease. This is a statement you have to write in your protocol. And you have found two references which you can give for this statement. One is by S. Richmond and one is from C. Wren et al. So how would you quote this? If these references are numbered 1 and 2, in the text you will write 1 and 2 as a superscript. You see? I hope it is clear. And then the style is the same like I showed. I'll go back to the slide. The style is like this. The authors, the name of the title of the article, the name of the journal, year, volume, issue. Issue can be omitted also. And the punctuation marks, the colon, semicolon, these are also very, very specific. Continuing with Vancouver style, if the first reference, what you have to keep in mind, say if the first reference is again to be repeated after a few lines, okay, then that reference will be again cited as 1. And then you will not give it some another number. But if it is coming again after 2 paragraphs, the first reference, it will be the same number 1. So this is the reference list is prepared and numbered like 1, 2, 3, 4. And which will be matching with the respective reference. That each reference will be matching with its respective assigned number. And one more point which you should know is that if there are more than 6 authors, then you say for 12 authors. In certain journals like Nature and all, there can be as many as 20 to 30 authors. So if more than 6 authors, then we write the names of the first 6 post-fixed by et al. And references in the text I told is as superscript, but it can also be in square brackets. And there is another style. For example, you can write that so and so et al. Have demonstrated similar results. Okay. Thomas et al. Have demonstrated similar results. Halder et al. Have demonstrated similar. So it can be used in a language in the sentence and you can cite accordingly. So if more than one author has to be, if one author has more than one article to be cited, each article has to be given a separate reference number. Say if Thomas et al. Is having two articles which you need to cite, then each article will have a separate reference number. You cannot give one reference number applying for both. And one more thing, that if the references are appearing continuous, then you can write, you can use it hyphenated, like I have given this example. Similar findings have been reported by many researchers, and you have found around 7 to 8 references which are coming consecutively. And in the reference list from 35 to 42, they are the same references which you are giving for this statement. So you can use a hyphen, 35-42. So just for your knowledge, that this Vancouver style, this name was derived after a meeting which was held at Vancouver, Canada in 1998, where the editors of all prominent journals they met, and this style of writing references was approved as a standard for all international publications. And probably that is why Delhi University is following it. And this was slightly modified by the International Committee of Medical Research Journal Editors. In the chat box, I have posted a link also, which directly takes you to this guidelines of this International Committee of Medical Journal Editors. Now coming to the other style, that is the Harvard style. You see the reference is the same. The reference is the same. The authors, the article is the same. Just the style of writing the reference has changed. After the names of the authors, there is the name, there is the year. You write the year in parentheses, round brackets. Then the title, then the journal name.
Dr. Sumita, we can do away with this because this is not useful for us.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt in between.
So since Harvard style is not so important, it was just for your knowledge. Just keep in mind in case when you are submitting your articles to those journals which follow this style, then I would just like to tell you that if you are doing manually, if you want to make use of media, you can write the name, you can use this Google Scholar, you can type the name of the authors and you can get this kind of search result. If you click cite, you will get this entire list where you will get the references in different style. You can choose whichever style you need. If Vancouver style is appropriate for us, you choose this, you select it and paste it in your document. So this is a very convenient way of doing it if you're doing it manually and not using any software. So this is one way of doing it. If you have any alternative device, you can try it. Dr. S.V. Madhu, you can type, who is an eminent researcher here. So if you want to search his articles, say, or sulfonyl ureas in the management of type 2 diabetes, you will get this page. And if you click on the site, then you'll get this. Are you getting? So once you are getting this, you can select whichever style you want, which is often the Vancouver style. Now, how do you insert the references in the text? So this is just an example I'm showing. The same text where you can use either square brackets or superscript as per Vancouver style. And if you are using the Harvard style, you use the round brackets. So this is how you insert the references in the text. It can be an introduction, it can be your material methods, wherever. Since it is your protocol, you don't have the discussion now. So this is how you insert the references in the text. And the same references in Harvard style, how it would look, and in Vancouver style, it would look this way. Now coming to writing references for a chapter from a book. So this is again an example how you write references for. So you write the authors, then you write the title of the chapter, then the editors, then the title of the book, the place of publication, publisher, and along with the page numbers, year and then page number. So this is basically you can easily take help of software, which are softwares which are available. This is if you're doing manually. Now this is a link which I have posted in the chat box. I would request all of you to please click on this link.
I think Dr. Sumita has got disconnected. I hope she will join in sometime. So I'll just give you some key points with regards to the reference writing. One of the common issues that we see that the references are not written in a uniform manner. In some references, you write it's in it if you use software, then that is also a problem, that it will give you, sometimes it will give you surname of the authors afterwards, first name first, sometimes it gives you something in capital letters, sometimes gives you issue and it does not gives you the volume number, sometimes it gives volume number but not the page numbers and all. So please go through the references manually once you have written the references. Even if you are using softwares, we see often in the protocol committee that students submit the reference, the whole protocol without checking the references. And at that time, that is one of the major problems that happens. So please go through the references manually, what Dr. Sumita was mentioning. I think so Dr. Sumita is back now. Yes, Dr. Sumita, we are able to see your screen on that. This is the Microsoft Teams.
Is my window visible?
No. What are you trying to share the browser?
No, my a few slides from my PPT.
Okay, okay.
Is it visible now, the PPT?
Yes.
Thank you. So I was just trying to emphasize that I have shared a link in the chat box. Instead of going into details of how to use the referencing for each and every source, whether it is a monograph or whether it is a government document, whether it is some electronic media, whether it is a conference proceeding, I have shared a link. The students can go to this link. It is a very, very useful link. It provides the guidelines how to do the referencing from each source. So I'll just share this question and I will request whether you can answer them in the chat box. Please point out the errors in the referencing from the following text. I have shared a text, then I have shared two references, and there are 4 answer options. Please, in the chat box, I would request you to write the answer options. I'm not able to see the chat box. Let me check. So anyone till now nobody has answered, I suppose.
The students can also raise their hands in this and respond.
Please, yes, please. The answer options are, I repeat, that reference 13. Please don't go into the text. You just see the reference style of reference number 13 and 14 as written. Reference 13 is as per Harvard style, is not applicable for DU. The option B is reference 14 is in Vancouver style, but the comma should be replaced by the semicolon. Okay. And number C is the bracket style of citing references is not uniform, and D, all of the above. So which you think is the appropriate error? D, Kritika. Thank you, Dr. Kritika. D. So the others also agree that the answer is D. So Dr. Kritika, you are right, because reference number 13 is not as per the Vancouver style, which I just elaborated. The Harvard style I did not elaborate because it is not applicable for DU. Reference 14 is in Vancouver style, but there should be a semicolon where just after the year 2015, instead of comma, there should be a semicolon. And the option C is also correct because the bracket style of citing reference, either you use bracket style, square bracket or round bracket, but in Vancouver style, you generally use square brackets or superscript. So whatever you use, it should be uniform, and it is not uniform here. So all the three are the errors here. So Dr. Kritika, you are right. Dr. Garima, you are also right. Thank you very much for your response. So we will do another very small exercise. That this is a question that find the error in the reference from a book. I just showed you an example how to cite from a book. I'm not going into the other sources, but these are the two main from journals and books. So can you find the error in this reference? And I would like the students, any one of you, if you want to answer, you can unmute. Do you find anything missing in this? The author is there, the title is there, the book is there, editor is, what is missing? Yes.
Ma'am, the year is
Yes.
missing.
Year
of in
yes.
publication edition is missing and the year is missing.
Yes. Yes. The appropriate year has not been inserted. So this should be the right way of writing. So I guess you have understood. Thank you very much for your response. Now, this, whatever I elaborated, can be done with the help of softwares also. So in this session, we are not going into details of how to use the software, but I'll just tell you that Mendeley is one free software which is very, very helpful for referencing. There will be probably other sessions where you can be taught about Mendeley. Zotero is another software which is also very useful for referencing, and it is free. These two softwares are free. And EndNote, RefWorks, Citavi, these are softwares which are also very good ones, but they are not free. So since you are now beginning your research journey at this moment, and you will be doing your research work, then writing a thesis, so it is better that you get well versed with these softwares at this stage, so that it is very helpful for you during writing of thesis and also communicating manuscripts in a later stage. So thank you very much. I hope this session was helpful. Over to Dr. Amir.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Sumita, for this session, and the examples were really good because this is how the reviewers and the thesis protocol committee looks at the references and finds out the mistakes and writes it in the comment and gives back to the student and to the department to correct it and resubmit it. So these are avoidable errors. Please take note of this. Thank you, Dr. Sumita.